Today is going to be a really good day. I've got a little project going on and it's going to be really fun. This is going to be my monitor wall. I'm going to have my computer screen here and here. I've got my secret storage space up here, but right here we've got a hole in the wall where I'm going to have access to electronics behind it, and I need to make a door for it. Now I could just make a really quick and simple door out of plywood, but if you think I'm going to do that, you don't know me very well. You see, I like to make things unnecessarily complicated. Now when the shelves are finished, they're going to have some giant redwood that looks like this. So today, I'm going to be using this offcut and turning it into a beautiful magical door. Or just a door that looks nice. So in this video, I'm going to show you how I sand it down, design the designs, burn them on, finish it, hang it, everything. So let's get started. The first thing I'm going to do is cut it to size. So this is the position I'm going to want it actually. No. So this is the top here, and I'm probably going to put some hinges about here and here. And when this folds up, I need to make sure the wood on the top here isn't hitting the back of the wall. I also don't want it to hit the ceiling, so I'm going to bring it down at least the thickness of the wood. From here, I'm going to probably bring it down to about here. Straight line across there and cut off this bit and sand it down. That's the first step. Now the finish on this wood is going to be 240 grit, but at this point I'm only going to sand it down to 80 grit, so that after I've burnt the laser design on, I'll finish the sanding. This way, it'll take all the burnt marks off of the wood. The next thing I'm going to do is take a tape measure, put it across the hole and take a picture. I then drop this photo into Illustrator. By putting the tape measure in the picture, I can then resize it to make sure the picture is to scale. By making the picture to scale, I can make a design over the top and know exactly where it's going to fit. I do this by drawing a 40cm rectangle and then line the picture up to make sure that the scale of the tape measure matches the 40cm of the rectangle. Next, I use the brush tool to draw around the hole. This is going to be the part of the door we can see, and this is where I'm going to need to fit the design. Once I've done that, I draw a rectangle around it. This isn't just because I love rectangles. This rectangle will become useful later on when I start the burning process. Now it looks a bit cluttered, so I delete the photo and this is what I'm left with. It's basically a scaled blank canvas to start the design. So for the design, I'm going to cheat. I'm going to use AI, and in particular, this one is Leonardo AI. One of the good things about Leonardo AI is it gives you free tokens every day. And well, I like free things. Now, if you're designing a file to be laser cut, I'd recommend using the graphic design model, go into the graphic design vector style, and then choose whichever shape you like. Now, I've got a kind of beetly fossil theme going on in the office, and I want to continue that onto the door. So I'm going to write in beetle fossil. Actually, make that rhinoceros beetle fossil. I just need to look up how to spell rhinoceros. Click generate and, well, it starts generating. After about 10 tension-filled seconds, you should get your designs. I want them to have wings, so I'll type in with wings, and then hit generate again. And again. And as many times as you like until you see something that you like. It turns out one of the first ones was my favourite. And that's the great thing about AI, you don't have to worry about offending it by making it work hard and then using one of its first designs. So I downloaded the image and dropped it into Illustrator. Then go to Object, Image Trace, Make and Expand. And you'll get something that looks like this. Delete all the bits you don't like, then drop it into place. Now comes the fun bit. You can be a bit creative, try different designs, and see what works and what doesn't work. I suggest using the stuff that does work and then not using the stuff that doesn't. So this is my super secret code. I made this with the help of AI, and I don't mind sharing it on YouTube because I only have 56 subscribers. But as the channel grows, you might start to work out what it's for. So now I'm dropping the runes onto the beetle, and it actually has a meaning behind it, which you might find out at a later date. If you think you know what it means, let me know in the comment section down below, and if you're right, I'll let you know. But the great thing about making your own stuff is that you get to personalise it and make it have special meaning to you. Now I decided to add little tips on the end of the wings because, well, I think it looks cool. And then the next step is to go through the design and make sure it's good for laser cutting. Now the white edges will be raised, which means that if they're really thin during the burning process, they may get burnt away entirely. The black lines, however, will be burnt inwards, so we can go a lot finer with them. The last thing I'd recommend is putting the rectangle on a separate layer so you can move it independently of the beetle when you move it into Lightburn. It's really important for importing into Lightburn that you save it as an SVG. Now here you can see the colours have been inversed, and that is because it is inside of the rectangle. But luckily for me, I saved the rectangle on a different layer, so I can click it separately and turn it into a trace layer. Oh, no I didn't. I just dropped that back up there, re-import it, and now I can select it separately. See? Now I can use the yellow rectangle to line up with the markings on the wood to make sure I get the design exactly where I want it. So on the wood I have a marking of the hole, and I'm going to draw a rectangle around the outside of this, and this should perfectly line up with the laser design in Lightburn. Now this is very light and hard to see, and this just means it will sound off easier at the end. And here we can see where I've got the laser lined up on the corner of the rectangle. This should ensure we get our design in the right place. I then start up the laser and make sure that the trace line goes around the rectangle as expected. Once I've done that, I do an outline of the design to make sure I've got it in the right place. I do this at a very low setting, so if it goes wrong, I can just sand it straight back off again. But I'm really happy with this one's location. I was going to do a time lapse of it being burnt into the wood, but smoke went everywhere and I had to cover it over.
Okay, so I'm really happy with this. We can see there's a little bit of burn around the edges, but that's why we only sanded to 60 grit last time. I'm going to go over with a 180 grit. And we've got rid of those burns.
Now something I really struggled with was trying to get the dust out of the cracks. I used a brush, a hoover, an air duster, an industrial air compressor, and I didn't manage to get it to the standard I wanted, although it did get it to a pretty good stage. I decided to finish it with some Rubio monocoat so it matched the rest of the furniture in the room. So I've got the door more or less finished. I just need to put hinges on, but I realised I'm going to have a bit of wood here behind it, stopping it from swinging back. And I've got a screw going into a stud there, so I can't remove the wood. So I'm going to have to make a cutout here somewhere. So, when I was walking down the road sometime last year, I saw somebody getting rid of this cabinet. There was another cabinet on top, and I thought, that's going to be useful. So I've used the bottom part for my tools, and the top part I stripped back. Because every cabinet isn't just a cabinet, it's hinges, it's weird magnet things, little knockers, wood and glass. And well, you know me, I like three things. So I've picked it up, broken it down, and now the hinges are going to go on here to open and close the wood, and I have got these magnet things which I'm going to use on the back of here in the ceiling to keep it open. I used some tiny little screws to put on the hinges and then tried it out in place. It's a bit close to the plug, so I might cut the bottom off over here. When I bend this up, the hinges stop it going up any further, so I'm going to have to build something on top to attach the magnet to. So I just cut a small block of wood, screwed the magnet on, and then I glued the block of wood to the door. The reason I glued it instead of using screws is because it was too thin to screw into, and I didn't want to screw it from the front. I'm going to try really hard not to make an inappropriate mum joke, but you can see I've used 2-part glue and just how quickly this sticks. I also glued on some 6mm magnets to hold it closed. Well, that was very dramatic. Next, I had to find out where the piece of metal on the ceiling was going to go to attach to the magnet. To do this, I put the wall in place and opened the door onto the ceiling with the piece of metal on it. Here are the two little marks, and I'm just going to screw this into the ceiling. And as you can probably tell, I struggled with filming this bit. But here it is, working as intended. I'm really happy with how this has turned out, and as you can probably tell from the chirping in the background of the video, I've been editing this video from the new office. If you'd like to know how I've made the wall that the door attaches to, it's in my shelves video. I'll leave a link in the top right hand corner. Okay, so that is it for this video. I thought it was a nice little project. I might give you some ideas and hopefully some tips to get some of your own projects done at home. And if it has, let me know. I would love to see them. So as you can tell, I've got a lot more to do in here. I hope you stick around and see some more projects I've got going on. I'm really happy with this one. But if you take just one thing away from this video, it's don't ask yourself if you can, ask yourself how you can.